Alright. Hello everybody and welcome to me casting myself entering the top 5 earners in a game that I am objectively very average at. That's right, I managed to win a tournament, me and PtitDrogo, called the Castle Cup just last week, guys. And I wanted to take a look and see how the hell did we manage to win a $5,000 prize pot. It was a $10,000 tournament total. And actually get in the top 6 earners for just a moment in time. This is already a screenshot from last week because guess what? DeMuslim's already jumped up to the top of this list with his $8,000 prize pool from the Steel Series tournament just the other day. But for this moment in time, I was top 5 in Age of Empires 4 and I am going to own this moment. So guys, we're going to do a first-person view cast of me playing that grand finals. Here's me. There I am. I'm going to turn myself up and down sometimes. And we are playing our final match. Now, the format for this is it was 1v1, 1v1, and then if it was tied up one apiece,
I'm gonna go double scout here.
Your team would have to then face off in a 2v2. So we were tied up 1-1 here against the Bonjour boys, who were both ranked in the top 100 at this point. So what's hilarious about this is these guys both are really good. Apparently they spammed a lot of Mongol on the ladder and stuff, which is the kind of overpowered race, or one of them at the moment. And we were worried. We figured we'd probably lose because they've both been in the top 100 multiple times. Drogo got up there once spamming Mongols, but the thing is with this tournament, we had only 2 civs, Chinese and French, right? And basically they only had Delhi and Rus. So the way this tournament worked is we had a civ draft and like the first team picked Mongols, the second team went and picked Rus, and then we picked Franks, which is what I'm playing. I'm playing Franks. Then the last team got to pick their 2. It was a snake draft, right? So they went and said, okay, we're going to take English and Holy Roman Empire. That was Trump and Hasselhoffs. We beat them in the previous round with some nice cheesy ram rushes. And then it went back down the order. We grabbed Chinese. We assumed that would already be gone. We knew Chinese is very strong, but neither of us knew how to play Chinese was the problem. So I said, Drogo, you've got more time to practice and you're better at games than I am. You want to play the good and also very difficult Chinese civ, right? So he went and grinded his butt off playing Chinese for a week. I played just French for a week. And even though technically we could have swapped back and forth, we said, let's just specialize. You always play Chinese. I always play French. That'll be the way to do it. And our opponents are playing Rus and Delhi. Now, the problem is these guys were way higher level than us. I was at the time of this with Franks hovering at about rank 400, maybe 300 tops. I'd gotten to about rank 180, 200 for a glimpse in time was the highest I've peaked on the ladder. And that was when I was first learning Franks. And that was literally, I was just figuring out the civ and I figured out how to play, a lovely, stupid build, basically. A build that was so uninteractive and unreactive to my opponent. And it was so opposite to what the Franks are meant to do. And I got to a decent rank. And it was basically, I'd go Chamber of Commerce, 2 TC boom, I'd buy stone. So I'd just get on gold heavily earlier, buy the stone, 2 TC boom, and I'd play Men-at-Arms and Springles. And people were like, French are a cavalry civ? You're meant to play cavalry. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going 2 TC, Men-at-Arms, Springles, because that's the best composition, and Springles beat everything. Now, after that point, Springles got nerfed before this tournament, of course, and stopped becoming basically the Tempest unit that just kills everything from long range. And it started becoming, oh, you need to actually play the game. So I started learning how to play it properly as a cavalry civ, but I couldn't really get above rank 300, maybe 250. I peaked at one time, but I doubt even that high. These 2 guys are both top 100. Drogo was down to about rank 300 as well, maybe 250 with Chinese. So we're kind of out of our depth here. And we are going into this one. And you can see we're kind of denying the deer, so their Rus player doesn't get the extra gold bounty from that. We're grabbing sheep. I went a double scout opening to try and get some extra sheep. I've been doing a lot of that. But because I was so busy denying deer and getting the sheep, I actually had to go onto deer really early because my sheep are running out, which is not bad on this map because your deer is so close. And in our previous 2v2, which we won, we went for a ram rush, right? He just gets his Imperial Advisor on his archery range, pumps archers, makes rams. I pumped knights out of 2 or 3 stables. We just basically do an all-in, right? And this is a good way to play RTS. In 2v2s, you attack. You both join forces, hit a timing attack where you both just have a set plan, set composition, you execute it confidently, and guess what? It's really hard to stop because your opponents, usually they'll be like, oh, one player's playing greedy and one's doing an army and now they're, oh, wait, could you help me fight, bro? And he's like, I'm not ready. And, all you need to do is isolate an opponent in a 2 versus 1 scenario, separate them, split them apart, and smash them to pieces. Now, because we'd done that in the previous round, and because this is a bit more of a closed map, it's hard, you know, we weren't too close to each other, and they could have potentially walled us off in some things. We said, you know what? If they're close, we'll do that. If not, we'll kind of macro on up. And Drogo's already called this game.
Okay.
He said, look, I'm gonna go pro scouts. I've just said I'm gonna skip pro scouts this game. I've got a deer, a hunt right here. I'm gonna let you take the hunts and them take the hunts. I'm just gonna skip spending that 275 gold, 75 wood, or it's a bit less because I'm French. I get a discount, but I'm just gonna do a bit of night harass, and I'm gonna try and fast castle and just get castle age knights, right? So we figured they're probably going to expect the ram rush. We're not going to do it this time, and they might freak out a little bit expecting us to do the same strategy we did. Unfortunately, at this point, we haven't really planned for, well, what if they rush us, and how will we read it exactly, and how do we kind of fix it up, right? So I'm going fast castle with French, which is not really a fast castle civ, and it's this weird thing. So in this game, I'm at this point, I'm like, okay, we'll get 2-3 knights out. We'll get chivalry, which is their mutalisk kind of regeneration healing upgrade, right? And we'll go for that. Drogo's just macroing up as well. I think he might have gone on stone. Actually, I don't think he does go stone. We're both playing 1 TC. We figured that booming in 2v2 is just too dangerous. Getting a second TC is it's too inflexible, right? Your opponents both push you. You're just not going to be able to help your teammate. But he is going Song Dynasty. So what I mean by that is he's getting both of his landmarks up. It's going to give him a 35% reduction on his villager production. So he's going to be kind of able to boom, and it also is going to unlock his Chuganu, basically his repeater crossbowman unit. So we already went in with for a bit of harass, took a bit more arrow damage than I really should have. And you can see my scouts just trying to get eyes on, hey, what are they up to? You can see I'm on 14 on food, 7 on gold. So we've got 3 on wood only. So very light on wood. Probably should have 1 or 2 more on there just to give me a bit more flexibility. Generally, a good rule is 5 on wood with most builds is going to give you, so even if you get the fast castle started, you can drop your archery ranges, or you can drop your stables, you can do all this. So we go in there, we idle his workers a little bit, but we see a knight. And I'm like, oh, he's actually going early stable knights. And I said, oh, it's probably just 1 stable, though. It's probably just a macro build. I'm pretty sure. Let's rewind that. I think I said that.
Just out of 1 stable, just defensive for now, I think.
Okay.
That's a second stable. Just defensive. What are you talking about, pig? Open your eyes. I was like, I think it's just defensive because they're worried about rams. I spotted a second stable as I said that on my screen. Now, obviously, I'm busy in-game focusing on a lot of things. But if I'd noticed that there, I would have immediately built a second stable and said, okay, let's start, going for it. Now, I built a second stable anyway for safety so I could have the flexibility of building more knights. But it would have been very nice at this point to just say, cool, they're probably going to commit. Let's just go triple stable, completely delay thinking about castle age, and just do it. Instead, of course, I'm like, oh, I'm playing for lots of money. Getting excited and stuff. Now, this here is actually a very successful raid that I'm about to do. You can see I split the weak knight behind the lead knight, and I run into his knights and I go, crap, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Chivalry's still not up. I think I'm halfway complete, and I've only got 2 knights into chivalry, so I was playing very greedy here. Drogo's also playing very greedy, and at this point, we can see that it's like, oh man, look at that exposed wood line. I really should have built a bit of a wall or an outpost down here. These knights are coming on in. Now, we do load our villages in the town center. He charges 1 down, but this is a real problem. So I'm pulling guys off there onto this sheep. We're trying to return to work, but those knights are just in this little corner now. So I've got to wait for a few more of my own knights to get out so I can chase them out of my base. We're trying to get back on that gold, which is still sticking out like a sore thumb. And at this point, we don't actually know if Honor, their Delhi player, the yellow player, is also going to be trying some stuff. And he comes in, gets a guy. You'll notice that he does a charge if you guys aren't Age of Empires players. So he gets the charge and then just disengages. Just says, well, one-shot that. The archers are now here. And this is where I realize, yep, they're pushing me. This is not good. Now, I haven't lost too many villages, but you can see whenever I've got 20 in the town center like that, massive idle time. We're now going to pull to the back, right? And this is Age of Empires classic stuff. AOE2, AOE4. Whenever you get attacked on the front, you can't fight. You just pull your villages, take resources on the back. And you just keep moving your villages. Now, what I should have done preemptively here is wall off this forest to the north. Because Drogo's turtled up as well. I'm not really aware of what he's doing because I'm a noob at this point. I'm just kind of like so focused on myself. And that's like the first time I've glanced at his base in ages. Our communication's pretty damn bad. But I should be walling off this top side to make sure that that gold's safe. Because then they could only get through by going through the wood line, which you can see is very guarded by the town center. I think because I'm going multiple stable knights, I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll just make plenty of knights. But it's like, well, we've only got 6. They've got the archers and the knights together. We should be a little more careful. And to not even have a spotter off to the left, I'm realizing, hey, archers just moved in that direction. Let's try and build a wall over there. Yeah, at least we get a little bit of early warning. But we're once again going to lose 2 villages, probably 3. So 2 villages go down. We're going to try to go back on gold there. Pull back, wait for the other knights. And I am in a big shit show. Because guess what, guys? We've only got knight production. We're getting rushed pretty hard. And knights need gold. I'm not mining gold. Now, at this point, I'm like, okay, I got to pull the knights down here to defend my food. But if I have to do that, maybe I retake the gold on the front while they're pissing around in the back of my base. So I'm thinking about, okay, well, we'll retake the front gold. We'll try to sneak a wall in the back and in the front to limit their ability to dive in. But man, this is such a shit position for me. And at this point, we are banking on the fact that Drogo is a macro god and a beast and actually better at the game than me. And he's going to be able to do some stuff because he's been very greedy. He's not really coming out to fight at all. I lose another villager or 2 to those knights on the top, make it 3 even. And these knights are tearing me up. But I'm chasing those knights down. I'm relying on my rally on the back to deal with these knights. And this is always classic thing. The moment you take some damage, you get units forced out, you always counterattack. And look at that. We've caught him going onto a very exposed front gold and building an outpost. So we're going to kill about 4 villages there on the Delhi player. And that's very important to slow down his age up and his economy at a point where it looked like the game was about to get out of hand. Now we're going to disengage because we've got a lot of things to focus on at home, right? Unloading the villages, pulling the knights back. And if we lose all those knights, we're screwed. We don't know if there's going to be a few spearmen we run into. That was more of me just saying, look, APM-wise, I don't know if I can keep up. What I would have liked to do there in hindsight, I wish I grabbed those knights, rotated them over to the Rus player's base and harassed his woodline a bit. Just kept those knights threatening rather than bringing them home. And this is also where I make a terrible call. And I go 2 archery rangers. Now, why am I going 2 archery rangers, guys? Because I feel like I'm kind of stuck in feudal. I feel like we're not going up anytime soon. I'm like, well, I'm probably going to need archers. I can use them for arbalests, crossbows later, which is a good anti-armored unit. Archers good versus spearmen. It'll give me the flexibility. The problem is I should have already reoriented at this point to saying, hey, wait a second. Let's focus on food and gold. Let's go back towards Castle Age. Continue to focus on the economy.
Doing okay, buddy?
And I start to do that now. In a moment, you're going to see.
Start working my way towards castle now. So I'm just
I said, okay, I'm going to start working my way towards Castle Age, but we're in a bit of a poopy position. My economy is looking kind of jank. So we send 1 knight down to the bottom right sacred site. We're hoping we can get there before they get walls up. We are on. This is Altai, right?
I have no mobility.
I think this map's called Altai. I think it's Altai. So we should be able to wall off the edges, and if we let them get walls off there and they get the edge sacred sites, Delhi gets massive bonus gold from that, so that would be a huge problem. So at this point, the knights are moving down the right side. We're going to go look for another raid on that gold, which could be really successful, because there's a good chance he has more than 5 on gold, and only 5 villages can fit in an outpost, so we should be able to kill the stragglers there. Seems like they're out of position. Drogo's now kind of roaming forward with his scouts. He's looking to steal people's farms, and these knights are still in the back. I assumed these knights had gone home, but Red Panda is being a massive D-bag, and a very effective D-bag with those knights in the back line. That is brutal, man. So at this point, my economy has been idled about 400 times, and I'm limping along. We are managing to idle their economy a little bit here, which is nice. We do get rid of that sacred site on the bottom side. They've still got the top sacred site, but at least that limits the gold income. And now we're just looking for raids. Obviously, he's running around with his scouts. He'd like to steal their hunts as well if he can. Those knights are going to come in, and I think that brings me to about 11 or 12 villages down.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Absolute disaster. Pretty good. Notice he's blocking with his scouts. So he blocks with his scouts there. And we actually get quite a lot of villagers go down here. Now, they bring their knights forward, and we do end up just backing off to that left side with these knights and scouts. Now, the problem is, there's a good chance that they've walled off. So if we go into that right corner, we kind of corner ourselves, and we might end up losing all those knights and scouts. But we've already done some economic damage. These knights coming in again.
Hopefully you can catch them in the middle of the
At this point, I knew I was in such a bad position. But Drogo's up to Castle Age. He's been relatively untouched. He's stolen a lot of hunts. We are going to find a villager there, which is awesome. And we see a hunting cabin and some deer up there, which means looks like our opponents
There's a
have
bunch of,
gone
nice.
and put some villages up there. Any more villages we find are good kills.
Come up.
Oh. Yeah, we're
And
trapped
I am
here,
just
though, so I
painstakingly
believe
swapping
there's
into
knights.
food
Let's go
economy
kill the
since I've
villas.
exhausted all the
Maybe
natural
you can kill
sources
the
at
wolf,
this
that's
point.
enough.
Now that's
It's a
too many
4-5,
archers for
no,
them,
3,000
because if you think
points,
about it,
it's
guys, we haven't built anything
I'll
that's
check
actually
your
weak
note
to
to decide.
archers.
trade.
So I think Honor screwed up by going so many archers and staying feudal age so long. It felt like our opponents didn't really have any sharp thing taking them to the next stage. Now I tried to fight there for a little bit, but we do get wrecked. It's just too many archers and knights. I'm going to go for the guild hall there
I'm on
in
the
a
left
relatively
as well.
defensible position. So we're going to
Nice,
start
nice.
going castle age.
Dude, I
Honor's
ran away
already
with,
up. That's the Delhi player, but the Rus player, Red Panda, looks like he's a little slow to go up as well after building so many knights, and us catching
Start
his
grabbing- I'm gonna start
food
grabbing
villages on the back there seems to have done a really crucial blow to him. Those guys still being absolute bags of dicks, and I still haven't invested in an outpost to defend my wood villages, and that's because I'm what we call a
I didn't
monkey
see any spearmen
who is a
starters
greedy
and
piece of
knights,
shit
so I'm gonna
who
keep
doesn't
this
want to
focused
do
on
it.
knight
And I'm like,
production
no,
for now.
I'm not gonna build an outpost. He'll send the knights in, they'll die to the town center, and it'll
Pretty
be
hungry
over.
to counterpush.
Now, there's a rule in RTS
waiting
games.
them
If you
to-
get harassed, there's always
Going up as
noobs
well,
who are going, why didn't you just wall off, pig? Why didn't you just wall off? And you'll see it in like a Viper video on his YouTube. They'll be like, if you just stone-walled, Viper, you wouldn't have died to the stupid Frank's Knights. Why are you so stupid, Viper? You know,
Do you run by here?
now,
You have one-
obviously that's incorrect, right? If you just build defenses preemptively every game, you're putting yourself behind. You're investing in something you don't need, right? Just build outposts at every resource. You do that, you're putting yourself behind. However, there is a point when you watch the high-level gamer or the pro gamer suffer to the same harassment 7 times in a row and still not build the wall off or the outpost. And that's the point where you could be a humble bronze leaguer. Heck, you could have never played the game. And suddenly your comment of, why didn't you just build an outpost is more than a little valid at that point. Still not what the high-level player wants to be hearing. Not that I'm considering myself a high-level player, but it's spot on. It's what the hell are you doing? Build an outpost on the back of the base, you idiot. Wall off a little bit or something. Come on, mate. So there's the Bronze League choice as chat saying, you know, you
Yeah,
build
one is
5
to
photon
build
cannons in your
million
main,
knights.
2 minutes in the
Add a
game.
little
You
bit
build
just to say
you
hi.
build an
Oh,
outpost on
scouts
every
going
resource
forward.
4 minutes into the game. You
Kill that
wall
scout.
off at 6 minutes completely in a
Kill him,
giant
I'll try and
circle.
wall off in front of that.
And
Oh,
that's
I'm
that's the
in
noob
there.
end of the spectrum. Then
Alright.
there's the pro
Yeah,
end
it's
where
a position.
sometimes we go too far on the greedy end. Now at this point, Drogo's saying, "Hey buddy,
Just
let's
waiting for
fight."
you, and I think you can just bring back the relic number 1.
So he's grabbing relics. He's going up. He's got his Chuganu mass. He's in Castle Age, and he's like, "Yeah, we're ready to fight." He's just had the most chill macro game.
You have 1 list of B and a million knights. I'm moving out a little bit just to say hi.
Your scout's caught him walling. Cut that off. Kill that scout.
Nice,
on the right. Yeah, if you can kill him, I'll try and wall off in front of there. Oh, army on the
Okay.
left. Careful, they're pushing.
Alright. I have a ton of production here.
Okay. So I just started Castle
I'm
Age
just waiting
Knights.
for you, and I think you can win this fight. I don't know how many units you have.
Not many. I have
Okay.
about 6 knights.
Drogo's got this big army. They're pushing in both of their armies. He's like, all right, I'm ready to fight, dude. Just get over here whenever you're ready. We'll take him. And I'm like, yeah, about that. And he's like, how much you got? And I'm like, 6 knights. And he's like, what? But that one knight harassing in the back has just come in again.
Winning this fight, bro.
And it keeps ruining the Delhi players' villages in the back of his base. So I am actually doing a very effective single knight raid. Sometimes it's the single knight that's happening right as they're fighting you on the front. So that's the one they don't notice. And it's the single knight that's probably getting like 7 villager kills down there right now. And I am bringing some knights forward. They did just get the Castle Age upgrade. We're getting some archer armor upgrades as well. We don't have the special French upgrade that gives them bonus damage for the next 2 hits after their charge. Still transitioning into that food gold income because I'm still thinking minutes down the track. I'm trying not to tunnel vision. All the practice in the week leading up to this taught me one thing, and it's cool to do a nice all in. It's cool to have a tight early game. But in Age of Empires, more than anything, you just need to make sure that you don't get too tunnel vision on one thing. And it's such a big picture RTS. And every RTS punishes you for getting too focused on the micro details and like tunnel visioning and stuff. But I say this game,
Some stuff.
Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 4, even more so, it's like just keep doing many different things. Never, in StarCraft, I would say it rewards you a little bit more for monkey moding on just one thing and going, I'm going to go so deep and commit everything to this one thing and it's all in and we're just going to keep hammering. We're not really going to transition, but we're just going to focus on the tactics. Whereas Age of Empires, you almost always want to do the opposite of that and not do that. At this point, we realized they've retaken the bottom sacred site, and they did manage to re-wall that in time. So I'm walling in front of their wall so that they can't just obviously build a gate and raid us on the right side. But it's kind of a pain because them having 2 sacred sites gives the Delhi player a lot of gold income. We're trying to bust a hole and raid through the middle. And at the moment, you can see I'm still trying to just get that food income up right now. I'm even going to take these front berries. It's a little risky, but if they counter push, I'll just abandon that. And I'm still on a pretty small income of maybe 50 vils at this point, because I doubt I have 14 military units. Probably 55 villages, but I mean, it's 19 minutes in this game, so this is not a good economy. So I'm going to try and dive in here with my knights, but my knights are pretty damaged, and they have a pretty good army, so I think I'm probably going a little bit too deep here. And we see they're going to crossbows now, so I'm going to run out this right side. I'm really worried that they've built a wall there that I can't see, so I just click back to my base, because your units in RTS games can always see if there's walls, even if they're not there yet. So I'm going to get surrounded. Those knights are going to go down. I'm going to try and just click them off to the left and lure them away a little, but they're all going to die. And I'm like, damn, that was a bit of a waste. So at this point, I'm realizing the opponents are not building spearmen. They're mixing in crossbows, which are a decent counter to heavy cav and heavy infantry, but they're not a hard counter by any means. They're very fragile, especially if Drogo can hit those with his Nest of Bees, which is his Mangonel equivalents for anyone coming from AOE2, or with his Chuganu. Either way, they'll kill them very efficiently, right? So you're going to blast those down really fast. I don't need to swap off knights, and I'm realizing that in a 2v2 more than ever, I kind of can just make knights. Now, that seems kind of silly, just being on food and gold, but I'm realizing, like, wait a second, I actually can basically just get my food income up, get more gold income, and do nothing but make knights. And you're going to see I'm going to abandon these berries. They're not the fastest resource, but they are decent, so we're still on them.
Might have to withdraw from my guild hall to keep it up.
That's past big for anyone just tuning in now.
Like when
It's the wet season at my farm. Thank you, Tank Mister, for the sub. So this is kind of interesting at this point because I'm just going, am I seriously going 4 stable knights? Well, 5 stable, including the School of Cav. Those 2 archery ranges, I've decided to just not use at all at this point. Because I'm like, well, what am I going to use that's effective there? They've got a mixture of knights and archers. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Now, at this point, though, it's still like I don't have that many knights. My economy is still chugging along. I'm actually considering doing a withdrawal from my guild hall. For anyone who doesn't know how Franks work, I've got a second TC starting on the right as well. So I am preparing for the longer game, which kind of worries me if we fight head on because I'm not really supporting Drogo that much. But we're getting better set up, right? We're recovering our economy from the early game shenanigans. I've also started, I believe, getting all my eco upgrades at this point. At least the first round of ones. So what was I going to say? The guild hall, right? It's this thing over here, just above my town center. You guys will see it. Basically, it just generates resources. I've set it to generate gold, and the way it works is say every, like, I don't know the numbers, say every 10 seconds, it gives you 20 gold. But it gives you more per tick based off of how much you have in it. So the next tick, 10 seconds later, will be 40 gold. And then 10 seconds later, 60 gold. So it exponentially grows, essentially, the longer you leave it. But if you withdraw it, it sets back to just 20 a tick, and it has to build up from scratch. So the longer you get nothing out of it, the more worth it is. To tell you guys a quick story. So in this game, I was hoping to get at least 2,000, probably 3,000 gold would be an optimal point to withdraw it so it can help me in the castle age, get momentum, secure the gold and the other resources on the map, make my army stronger at a crucial point where it could give me tempo, right? And so that I don't just leave it for the end game when the game's dragged on, because I'm not good at end game either as well. And that way I'll remember to use it, right? The risk is never wanting to withdraw from it and then being a pussy. I've actually had a game. It was an hour-long game. And I think it might have been the game I won with the Wonder. Maybe it was a different one. I've had one game I won with the Wonder. It was a 1v1 on Mongolian Heights. We had a river. The other guy walled off everywhere, and he just defended with mass siege, right? This game just dragged on and on and on, and I completely forgot about my guild hall. So we were an hour into this game. I was finally killing my opponent because they couldn't break across, and my Wonder was about to time out. And I realized, oh, I forgot about my guild hall. And I'd been struggling for gold. I'd gone into trade income. I had like 30 traders. This is mega late game, just getting gold back and forth from the market for, endless gold source. And then I went, wait, no. The guild hall, I forgot. And I went and I clicked on it. It had 21,000 gold sitting on the guild hall. And I clicked it as my opponent surrendered.
Vision here.
And I was like, 21,000 gold. So talk about a landmark that is kind of silly, because it can be worth so much. So anyway, guys, this game's heating up right now. Drogo has said, look, dude, this fight's kind of awkward. I don't know if we can take this. Just take your cavalry, go backstab. And I've run over here, I've broken the wall, and I'm just going to try and dive into their backline and raid them. But that means Drogo's in a 2v1 scenario with me just rallying a couple of knights. I'm also rallying some arbalests just to try and beef up my army at this point. I believe I've started producing some of those, or I will soon. And you can see there, I've caught him before he's able to re-wall. I split a few of the knights to kill those 2 villages, so they should throw up another emergency wall. But because there's fighting on the front as well, I'm just going into like mass stables right now. I'm booming on 2 town centers. My economy finally feels like it's not shit. You can see I have 27 villages on gold, 36 on food. So it's almost a full food gold economy, purely knight oriented at this point. And I'm letting Drogo worry about the counter units, worry about, okay, I've got my archers, I've got my heavy infantry, I've got my artillery, or actually I think he's gone lancers. Yeah, I think he's gone lancers. So he's gone heavy cav, light archers, and nest of bees. So he's got a real diverse, balanced army. And our opponent's throwing up a keep on the front, starting to build elephants. And I'm like, oh shit, they did wall off again. But it's just a palisade. We can burn that down pretty quickly. I've got a lot more knights. And at this point I realize, screw this. They're not pushing us. We can't push that keep. I grab my whole knight rally and I send that out the left. So we have now split my knights into 2 big backstab armies. And I've said, Drogo, you're on your own on the front, mate. You are basically completely on your own. And I'm going to rally some arbs and knights, and I'm booming. So, like, my economy's not terrible. It's not the worst thing.
Oh, shit, you got all... Oh, no, it's my... He's on my village.
But, yeah. And, okay, my knights have broken the wall. So we're going to send those into the back line of Delhi. The other knight's going out the left side. And check this out. These knights in the back. This could find big damage. But wait, he's already in the outpost. He's already in the second outpost. I'm like, oh, man, this is not going to pay off. So this is kind of a bummer. We find some crossbowmen and some men-at-arms. I'm like, hey, that's all right. I mean, at this point, I've got +2 pierce armor on my knights. So they're not taking much damage from the arrows garrisoned. And I'm like, oh, actually, he's pulled back a whole lot of his knights as well, the Rus player. So I'm like, look, if they've pulled back, I kind of let Drogo know. I'm like, hey, he's pulled a lot of knights back. I hope I did anyway. I can't quite remember. And I just disengage. I just pull them back. If I let those units get cornered, they're not a threat. But as long as they're running around in the back line, I'm wasting their attention, their APM, and forcing them to chase after that, right? So I'm like, okay, this is cool because Drogo has to watch the front and fight there. I don't have to at all. I am just macroing and raiding. That's all I'm doing. And we are 130 supply now, which is not terrible. It's not great. But look, he's still chasing me. I went back in thinking he would have given up on that. An elephant randomly wanders into my base. I love elephants. I love animals. But we're going to kill that one. Get screwed. Now, Drogo, I think at this point, is getting his army jumped on. And I'm busy chasing an elephant. So check this out. He's going to call for help, and I'm not going to be able to help him.
I'm just killing an elephant in my base.
His nest of bees, let's rewind a sec, are getting caught out in the open on that left side. This is a big problem.
I'm further back. I'm just killing an elephant in my base. My knights are doing run-bys right now. Got some units coming.
All of his nest of bees in the top. All of his nest of bees are caught out up there. That's all of his artillery. He's lost like 3 of them. Now my knights are trying to come in and help. He's got some outposts there. He's got like a springald on the left trying to help. My knights, I'm still trying to make sure, look, this is important. Let's build some outposts to defend. I found their trade income they've started doing. That's okay. And it looks like even though he's lost most of his nest of bees, 2 of them survived. And look at that. They fought in range of a keep. He got a nice arc. I flanked in on, got on top of the cavalry with my rally, and it actually worked out okay. I also believe I did focus fire my arbaletier on the enemy lancers, which I was kind of proud of because I am a bit of an A-move boy. You know, at heart, I'm still a Zerg player, and I don't like to micro. You know, playing in Australia with lag, telling units to attack specific things, oof, it's a bit of a big ask. We like to just click on the ground and say, army, attack in that direction. You sort out how this is going to stitch itself together. Let's see what happens. Knights are going to come in and clear up those villages on the south. So you'll notice, and once again, as soon as the army pulls back, I pull them back to the left with the top squad, and the bottom squad pull back to the right. So we're just kind of going, I'm going to be a nuisance. What he did with his knights in my backline on my wood and gold early game, I am getting massive revenge for that now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing to you over and over again, and I'm killing a ton of villages. I'm isolating their exposed resources. I'm idling their economy.
I'm gonna make some more
And we're
spring
pulling those
gold.
knights back to do the exact same thing again in the near future while adding in more upgrades. We're adding more range damage. I think we were adding range damage there. Might have been melee armor.
I think I'm gonna make a castle in the middle.
And
Maybe.
Drogo is going to just reinforce the center. We find this gold here, which is massive,
pretty
right?
big
Even
knight,
just
crossbow
idling that
army
gold in the
together
corner,
now.
which is probably their main
Yeah.
gold source right now for the
Oh,
red player,
Okay.
is absolutely huge. I've got
Focus
outposts
them.
guarding that
See.
right side now, so they can't really
Because I'm
counter
microing my
siege on
raids,
that
just
edge.
let me know if,
We'll be able to get
stuff
springolds
happens,
up on
'cause
those
I'm
towers.
Super distracted.
And the knights just being super annoying right now. And we will just clean these units up. Trying to do a little bit of pulling back the weak units where possible. And realizing, those crossbows are going to be annoying. Let's just back off. And now I'm on the front with Drogo. And I've said, look, we've done enough damage in the back. Most of those guys are gone. We're still going to try and run them around, keep them busy, keep the
Yeah, I'm
threat
raiding
there.
a little bit too.
We're also going to start markets. Now, the reason
Wow.
I'm starting markets is I'm realizing there's no gold left on this map. There's like
all of his units
there's
here.
like one on that right side, but it's beyond the wall off.
Maybe?
So I can't really get down to it because there's enemy outposts guarding it. And I'm realizing like this is actually really scary. Now, that's a lot of crossbows, guys. So we're going to try and charge into those crossbows.
He's not even here, only fucking crushing them. Dude,
I've
how much
realized I
damage
still
did you
don't
do your
fully
raid?
know how the charge
beast.
mechanic works. And I need to actually figure that out in a custom
when
game
you're
with the
1v10
knights.
on the front,
Maybe
turns
go
out
back
I'm
a bit.
pretty-
Maybe go back a bit.
Okay.
Because
There's a little
sometimes,
crossbow here.
like if you click them all on
Maybe
one
just to be,
unit,
like-
I'm not sure if that unit dies. Do all the other
crossbows
knights
tearing
just
up their
derp
knights
out
as
and
well.
not charge? I
Okay,
think
nice,
you
nice.
have to A move to get them to charge. So I think targeting a crossbowman like I did meant 2 of them charged and the rest derped out.
Getting surrounded a little bit here.
Because I wanted them to charge on the archers, not on whatever was closest by. But it feels like it's a little twitchy still. Now the crossbowman you can see
trying the
focusing on those
crossbow
knights on the back, and I'm trying to pull my knights back to shield his artillery as best I can, making it hard for the enemy knights to torch them down. And I'm actually harvesting stone still, with the plan of putting a keep down, but I've kind of forgotten about it a little bit. And at this point, I'm just trying to keep building that food income. We're going to go up to like
Dude, how fucking
50
good are we?
guys on food. I'm building lots of
Okay.
traders
Literal
to get the gold income. And it feels like just the night raids seem to have just torn them apart because their army
Probably
just can't really
some time
contest
too.
us
That
right
kinda
now. We've
fucking
got a little
helps.
bit too much.
I'm starting
And,
to trade them 'cause
yeah,
I have no- 'cause
the
they're all
tongue-licking
gold
APM.
now, so-
Okay.
So for those who don't know, if you guys are
Doesn't
ever
kill them,
wanting
I'm
to
kinda like,
focus really hard on something, there's a technique. It's called ethereal
I have taxes people,
cunnilingus. So ethereal, or
and for
it is
relics,
ethereal,
so
right? Or it's not
good for
ethereal.
relics.
It's ethereal. Ethereal cunnilingus.
Like,
Basically,
it's
you
fucking
imagine the video game needs
so
some
triple
fancy
trade
micro, and
goals
while
and
you're
stuff.
microing and
So,
macroing
a few
and
minutes
being a
I'll
pro
have
gamer
this
like Jeremy from Pure Ownage, you need to just go.
Oh, they're gonna run by as well. I think.
Because that's
I think
apparently
I'm
what my
invisible.
my focus face looks like, guys.
Yeah, I
Um,
raided it once or twice,
what
but
can I
don't
say?
do that now.
It is what it is.
I'm
Now,
just gonna rally there and then. I mean, it's late.
we're
in a minute,
still
it'll look
pulling off
amazing.
berries onto food, making sure that food income keeps going. Now, obviously, I've
I'm just
overshot it
making-
because
I'm
I'm
just making
excited and we're
walls.
winning.
Like that's all I'm making.
65 villages on foods and none on gold because all my gold sources just ran out. And I'm like, oh. And at this point, we're kind of going,
It's pretty good. French.
Pig.
Pretty good.
Dude, fucking nice.
Guildhall. Pig. Guildhall.
Producing out of 6 stable.
Probably got like 5,000 gold on it. Click the guild
I'm
hall.
not even thinking about Imperial.
Click guild hall, pig. Pig's forgotten his guild hall, guys. We were talking about it earlier for a reason. The more stuff going on, the more excitement, the more that guild hall gets forgotten. God, I'm a donkey. So I'm here realizing, man, I don't have much gold. I'm going to go on stone, and I'm planning to sell some stone. But I don't think I remember to. I've got like 10 traders queued up, which is all of my gold
Yep.
being spent on that.
For sure.
And I figure that's going to ensure
I don't know what
a chance if this game goes on. So I don't think I remember at all to click on that guild hall. Maybe at the end of this game. Either way, we are breaking through there
B, dog.
on that left side. And Drogo getting very excited. What did he just say? Let's see. What was that?
Fucking Nestor's B, dog.
His nest of bees are tearing it up. He's like, fucking nest of bees, dog.
I'm going for a run by on the wood line.
I'm going College of
You
Artillery.
move and you.
I'm going Imperial.
Delhi player's going to flank from behind. That's okay.
Crossbows there.
I think I just sold a lot of
Nest of
food
bees
to
here,
go
so-
Imperial there,
I'm
guys.
killing so many bottom villagers here.
You can tell Drogo is like full mast at this point because he realizes he's just butchering their economy, man.
Oh yeah.
Nest of bees on the back line. Can you focus the crossbows?
Yes. Sorry. Coming.
So I'm pulling away there from the crossbows because we're getting his nest of bees to target fire them, and they're just going to obliterate. I didn't get to watch it on screen, unfortunately, but you know they just got obliterated, right?
Oh, you're on the gold? Yeah,
Yeah,
you're on the
I'm on
gold
his
in the
gold
trade.
too.
Oh,
That
Dude.
should be GG.
Dude, I fucking killed everything. The red player has nothing.
My man.
yeah. And we've just realized, hey, we found that gold in the top left again, and the trade
So
line.
much good now.
They're out of gold at this point. We've ruined their economy. We still got untouched economies behind this.
Games! They're giving us money!
And here we go.
Ooh, bad, not bad.
Oh, you're on the gold? Yeah, you're on the
I'm on
gold
his
in the
gold too.
trade. That
Dude.
should be GG.
Dude, I fucking killed everything. The red player has nothing.
My man.
Dude, this is literally my biggest prize pool this year. I have so much goddamn wood.
We're swapping at games. We're swapping games, Drogo. This is it. We're swapping
This is it.
games. They're giving us money. We're gonna have to swap to the superior esport.
Yes!
Holy
Oh.
crap.
GG!
Good job, man. Dude, your call on going to raid through the wall actually
Yeah.
was clutch. That was clutch, man.
Yeah, that one was the game. Like, I didn't even look, but I was like, dude, they have nothing. Why? And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they sent all their knights and a big pack of crossbows back. And
Yeah,
it
like,
was- and I just
that's
ran
why I
around
thought-
in circles. I split my knights into like 5 bases, and I was like, this is so much harder to deal with
Yeah,
in Age of
well,
Empires than it
look-
is in StarCraft.
Look, yeah, the fucking villagers. Okay, like, I stayed on one base the entire game. I had the most villagers out of anybody. And, yeah, dude, you know, I almost didn't make the defensive building. I almost didn't do it.
Holy crap. And this is the point, guys, where we realize, holy crap, look at the villager count here. I'm just pausing on this screen. So Drogo, a little behind early on, and then, boy, did he kick on up. So you can see where his Song Dynasty kicked in at some point here, and he just had this smooth macro. He got up to like 125, 130 villages at the end. Now I did start to catch up, remember, after I got that second town center and so on, I did slowly, you can see that kicked in at some point, and I kind of got up to like 120, 125 at the end, including traders and stuff. But you can see the other guys, I actually thought they would be further ahead, because remember, I took a lot of idle time and kind of damage earlier. And what really surprised me was how much damage they took, and we realized that the night raids really got them. Your villager count. Did you go second TC? Right. If we check this one out, look at this one. So that was, remember when our scouts and knights joined up, and even though their knights kept idling me, the difference was, remember guys, when we raided, we killed a lot of villagers. When they raided, they idled a lot of villagers. They killed a few. It stacked up to maybe 10 kills, but it was always like 1 or 2 at a time, right? And I was pretty quick at reacting. But they were harvesting a few more dangerous resources early, right? We found villagers out on the hunt on the far left of the map. We found villagers on the gold in the corner of the map. Now, this first big dip for red was really crucial. There's a little dip for yellow. Remember, that was when my 2 knights found their gold, or 3 or 4 knights found their gold and killed a bunch of villagers that didn't have the outpost up. If that outpost up was in time, yellow should be getting ahead there, number 1. Then the red one that came up there, that was when we found his mill in the back of his base, the Rus player's mill. And we actually went and killed a ton of villagers. Remember when the scouts blocked them? And you can see that really ruined his economy for a while. And it took him a long time to recover. And then there was another. I think here is funny, because notice there's a big fight there. So there's that fight symbol. There was a big battle, which Drogo was fighting versus them. And that was, it doesn't even show the battle on my timeline or anything. But guess what? That's when my single knight was in the back, and it killed like 5 villagers all on its own. This was that one knight on the Delhi players' farms in the back. And it just shows the pressure of tournaments and how important like backstabs and little distractions can be when you're very imperfect players, which we all are, right? None of us are pro gamers. The Bonjour guys are a lot stronger than us, and I think their standard game is a bit better. But we just kind of managed to just send enough little pinprick backstabs and find so much damage, right? So we've also got, we did that big damage, and that really slowed them down, because then check it out, I was actually ahead of workers there, even though I'd had my economy idled so much, and I lost quite a few vills. And even though the Rus player caught up with us, he then got slowed down, and you can see the Delhi player, I mean, my knights were in his backline for the longest time, so he slowly recovered, but then there was the big night raids, just absolutely ruined him. We idled the red player a bit and kept him frozen at about 90 vills, But the Delhi player was already in trouble, and we smacked him way back further down. And remember, Delhi is really hard to play. It's a little bit more passive, and it's going to be tough. But we were so psyched by this, guys, because we did not expect to win. They're both higher level than players than us. I don't know if they've ever been pro gamers though. So obviously we have that experience. We both played on big stages, right? We've been flown around the world. We've played big stages. Drogo's a DreamHack champion. I'm not ever been anything like that. I've been a national champion in a few Australian tournaments back in the day, and that's about it. But you know, I've played in those big tournaments. So I think maybe we were able to have a little bit more calm under pressure, because I think they should have handled those raids better than they did and got units up to respond faster, right? Whereas you could see like Drogo in this game, you just look at his villager count there. You don't even need to look at the military count or anything like that. And you can kind of go, oh, don't let a StarCraft pro be uninterrupted that's as good as Drogo. Don't let a high-level elite gamer like Drogo be untouched, because you could see just how smooth his economy was, while the other three of us were kind of mud wrestling down here for a long time. So me and these two guys, we're all doing some dirty mud wrestling and rolling around, and Drogo's just like, no, I'm gonna 1v2 everyone with this sick army. So I think, yeah, we saw like Drogo getting control there, and you can see the military count was actually huge for the Delhi player at a few points, but it was mostly archers and stuff, right? And then some men-at-arms, and you can see it went way down. And I think actually you could see they still had a big chance to win here, because around that 26-minute mark, their economy was way worse than us. But their army was way bigger, in that the Rus player had similar army military count. I don't know if this... Oh, actually, you know what, guys? This is a really shit military graph. I forgot. Age of Empires has a pretty dodgy military graph. What do you mean, Pig? That's number of units. So these are all archers, the cheapest, crappiest unit in the game. Whereas Drogo's units, I don't even know if this is counting supply or not. Because if this is individual units, it's counting as nest of bees as 1, even though they're 3 supply. Right? I hope it's counting supply, but even if it's supply, a Lancer, a heavy cav, is worth way more than 2 archers. So this graph might be a bit misleading, but I do think there was a point there. Remember, that was when they attacked and overextended into Drogo, attacked into his keep. And you can see he lost a lot of army, but they lost their whole army essentially in that follow-up period. And we chased them all the way across the map, right? And that was when their military was in the dumps, and so was it, and the game was basically over. But the power of those run-bys, really awesome. Obviously, I think we were very happy to win this. So it's kind of cool to revisit and watch. I think like seeing how open I left myself to their early attack, rather than just being prepared with more production and more money, not being preemptively prepared to defend my gold. I think it's fine to be greedy at the start, but as soon as I got pushed off my front gold, I should have been walling off the back gold and saying, hey, that's fine. These guys are being aggressive. And that's one of the best skills in Age of Empires I've got to get a lot better at, because I suck at it. It's realizing, hey, wait a second, they're attacking me. The early game call, they're just defensive knights on one stable, when I could see a second stable. Obviously a bit of a misread, sent us down the wrong chart. And the panic double archery range, when those 2 archery ranges, 300 food, could have been 4 farms, started a little bit earlier. That would have been a bit smoother into my food income and would have just been very beautiful. Anyway, guys, absolute treat for me to be able to play a tournament like this and enjoy this one rare moment here, where I got to be rank 5 in the world in Age of Empires winnings. Guess what? We looked that up. I'm already down to rank 6 because Drogo's up there. If we look up the current one, this is a screenshot for a reason. And may we forever remember this moment, because this is probably the first and quite possibly the last money I'll ever win playing Age of Empires. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.